Okay, then we're going to move forward to Mosiah chapter 20.
Now there was a place in Shemlon where the daughters of the Lamanites had gathered themselves together to sing and to dance and to make themselves merry. And it came to pass that there was one day a small number of them gathered together to sing and to dance. And now the priests of King Noah, being ashamed to return to the city of Nephi, yea, and also fearing that the people would slay them, therefore they durst not return to their wives and their children. And having tarried in the wilderness, and having discovered the daughters of the Lamanites, they laid and watched them. And when there were but few of them gathered together to dance, they came forth out of their secret places, and took them and carried them into the wilderness. Yea, 24 of the daughters of the Lamanites they carried into the wilderness.
There's trouble brewing here. All right, it says that now these are the daughters of the Lamanites, all right, not to be confused with those daughters of the Nephites who went and talked to the Lamanites before, right? These are the daughters of the Lamanites. It says it was a place where they, get together as girls and singing and dancing and just kind of, hanging out together and having a good time together. And now the wicked priests of King Noah kind of resurface here. Right? They were hiding in the wilderness, and lo and behold, they happen to be right in this area where these girls are hanging out. And so after watching them for a while, they decide, hey, we should keep them. Right? We left our wives back at the camp, right? And so we can't go back there because those wives will kill us at this point, right? And if they don't do it, the rest of the people will. So they're kind of estranged now from the rest of the group, and so hey, we may as well take advantage of these defenseless women here. And so it says they take them and carry them off into the wilderness. Now, okay, they had 2 years apiece, and so we have a feeling this is going to end that period of time, right? They're not going to be happy with the Lamanites are to find out what's happened here.
And it came to pass that when the Lamanites found that their daughters had been missing, they were angry with the people of Limhi, for they thought it was the people of Limhi. Therefore they sent their armies forth, yea, even the king himself went before his people, and they went up to the land of Nephi to destroy the people of Limhi. And now Limhi had discovered them from the tower, even all their preparations for war did he discover. Therefore he gathered his people together, and laid wait for them in the fields and in the forests.
Right, so the reaction was what you would figure it would be, right? When the Lamanites find out that these girls are missing, and they were hanging out near the land of Shemlon, which is one of the areas occupied by Limhi's people. So, well, obviously, the Limhi's people did this and took our girls away. So, right away, the king gets together his army, and we're going down, and we're going to take care of these people. So, that's what they're on their way to do. And, of course, Limhi then sees them coming, and so now they're going to gather their army together. So now here you got armies about to fight each other, and on which side was the guilty party? Neither, okay, as it turns out, right? Here are the guilty ones are hanging out in the wilderness with these girls. So, but you see how misunderstandings can occur, and so at times of war and with enemies, they don't stop to ask questions. It's just, okay, now we're going to fight. Because that's what they're on their way to do.
And it came to pass that when the Lamanites had come up, that the people of Limhi began to fall upon them from their waiting places, and began to slay them. And it came to pass that the battle became exceeding sore, for they fought like lions for their prey. And it came to pass that the people of Limhi began to drive the Lamanites before them. Yet they were not half so numerous as the Lamanites. But they fought for their lives and for their wives and for their children. Therefore they exerted themselves, and like dragons did they fight.
Right. So as they fought, it says, even though the Lamanite army was how much bigger than the Nephite army, more than double. All right. Of course, it said from the opposite perspective in 11, it says that the Nephite army was not half so numerous as the Lamanites. All right. So they had less than half of the size, but yet they were driven, right? It says they fought like dragons. Is an interesting comparison, right? That they said, hey, enough is enough here, because they didn't know about these girls, so all they knew was, wait, we had an agreement here, right? We're paying you half of what we have, and your agreement is you're not going to kill us. And so now you're sending the army here. What's the matter with you? All right. So they were pretty angry themselves at this point, and so they fought like dragons to try to fight them back and protect their wives and their children and so forth, because that, hey, you're breaking the agreement now, that you weren't supposed to do this. Yeah, I'm sure they saw it as a totally unprovoked attack, because they didn't know what had happened. Right. So again, that's what can happen sometimes when you have misunderstandings.
And it came to pass that they found the king of the Lamanites among the number of their dead. Yet he was not dead, having been wounded and left upon the ground. So speedy was the flight of his people. And they took him and bound up his wounds, and brought him before Limhi, and said, Behold, here is the king of the Lamanites. He, having received a wound, has fallen among their dead, and they have left him. And behold, we have brought him before you, and now let us slay him. But Limhi said unto them, Ye shall not slay him, but bring him hither, that I may see him. And they brought him. And Limhi said unto him, What cause have ye to come up to war against my people? Behold, my people have not broken the oath that I made unto you. Therefore, why should ye break the oath which ye made unto my people?
In the course of the battle, it says, the king of the Lamanites was wounded, and his people, or his army left him behind, I guess with others who were dead or wounded, and so they took off. It says, so speedy was the flight of the people that they left the king behind. So now he's fallen into the hands of Limhi's people, so they're ready to put him to death. But Limhi says not to kill him now. So that's what he said. I got to question him first. Right? He says, why are you doing this? And as we just said a few minutes ago, I mean, we didn't do anything wrong. We had an agreement. We're following our agreement, and we've had 2 years of peace. And all of a sudden, here comes your army. What gives? Right? We haven't done anything wrong yet. You're breaking the agreement, and now sending your army here. So what's going on?
And now the king said, I have broken the oath, because thy people did carry away the daughters of my people. Therefore in my anger I did cause my people to come up to war against thy people. And now Limhi had heard nothing concerning this matter. Therefore he said, I will search among my people, and whosoever has done this thing shall perish. Therefore he caused a search to be made among his people. Now when Gideon had heard these things, he being the king's captain, he went forth and said unto the king, I pray thee, forbear, and do not search this people, and lay not this thing to their charge.
In 15, the king says what the issue was, right? That, hey, some of our girls have disappeared, and so your people took them. And so Limhi, again, trying to be a good king, says, all right, we're going to find out who did this. We're going to investigate. Right? We're going to find out who did this, and we'll take appropriate action against whoever has done this, because I'm certainly not approving this type of behavior. So let me find out who's done this. We're going to investigate. And so upon investigating, and Gideon perhaps investigating, he realized that none of the people had done it. Okay, that they were nowhere to be found in the city apparently, and so they knew that their people had not done this.
For do ye not remember the priests of thy father, whom this people sought to destroy? And are they not in the wilderness? And are they not the ones who had stolen the daughters of the Lamanites? And now behold, and tell the king of these things, that he may tell his people, that they may be pacified towards us. For behold, they are already preparing to come against us, and behold also there are but few of us. And behold, they come with their numerous hosts, and except the king doth pacify them towards us, we must perish.
Gideon is apparently being a pretty good detective, right? He figured out what happened. Says, hey, wait a minute, where were they? Where were they dancing? And over there, and remember those priests? It's been 2 years, but we never heard from them again, and they're living out there somewhere. And so they must be the ones who did this. He actually figured it out that they had been the ones who took those girls. And so now they're probably happy they kept the king alive of the Lamanites, because now they're saying, you know what, the army's going to come against us again. And so, but the king can go talk to them and tell them, we didn't do this. All right, so we can solve this issue now. See, if they put the king to death, then what could they say? He says that when the army came against them again, in fact, they would be even more vicious, saying that you killed our king and stole them, and you took our girls too. And so by convincing the king that they were not responsible, they had now somebody who could speak to the people and prevent that from happening.
For are not the words of Abinadi fulfilled, which he prophesied against us? And all this because we would not hearken unto the words of the Lord, and turn from our iniquities? And now let us pacify the king, and we fulfill the oath which we have made unto him. For it is better that we should be in bondage, than that we should lose our lives. Therefore let us put a stop to the shedding of so much blood. And now Limhi told the king all the things concerning his father, and the priests that had fled into the wilderness, and attributed the carrying away of their daughters to them.
21 is still Gideon talking, right? And he's saying, look, the words of Abinadi are coming to fulfillment here, right? That all these bad things are happening because we wouldn't listen to what he said. So, and remember, nobody other than Alma was taking that seriously at the time. So, if it wasn't for Alma carrying it on, Abinadi's death would have been basically for nothing, because nobody else was taking it seriously. But Alma did, and then of course he converted other people. But those who left behind, Gideon and the others, were not among the believers, if you will. Right? So it says, look, now it's coming to pass. The prophecy is coming to pass. We're having all this trouble now. Right? So now we need to employ the king of the Lamanites to put an end to this bloodshed. And so that's what they're going to do. It says, let's send him back to his people, tell him what happened, give him the whole story, and let him speak for us. And so in 23 it says, Limhi shared all the things about Noah and the priests and them running into the wilderness, and said, these are the guilty parties, and we don't stand behind them. They're not part of us, and so don't blame us for what's happened here. Okay, so the whole mystery is uncovered, and they're able to deal with it that way.
And it came to pass that the king was pacified towards his people, and he said unto them, Let us go forth to meet my people without arms, and I swear unto you with an oath that my people shall not slay thy people. And it came to pass that they followed the king, and went forth without arms to meet the Lamanites. And it came to pass that they did meet the Lamanites, and the king of the Lamanites did bow himself down before them, and did plead in behalf of the people of Limhi. And when the Lamanites saw the people of Limhi, that they were without arms, they had compassion on them, and were pacified towards them, and returned with their king in peace to their own land.
Right, so now they're just setting up, if you will, the meeting to kind of relate what's happened. At the time that we're talking about, obviously, you can only talk face to face, and by the time you get to talk face to face, they can cut your head off. So as we see how it ends up now, it says that they got together and talked. They came out and says without arms. They're saying, and they don't mean without these arms. They mean without any knives or swords, whatever. They came out with nothing, and so therefore the Lamanites saw that they were willing just to talk in peace. So they came out and spoke peacefully and explained what happened. And here's your king. We could have killed him, but we didn't. We spared his life, and so here you take your king and go home, and we'll stay here and go back to the arrangement that we had before, because that we were living in peace for the last 2 years, and this incident was none of our fault, right? We can understand why you did what you did, and you can certainly understand why we would defend ourselves, but nobody really did anything wrong, because the guilty ones are still out there with the girls, and so maybe we should go find where the girls really are instead of fighting with each other. So that's how they end up this particular chapter.